to introduce myself. I'm a man of wealth and taste. I've been around for a long, long year. Stole many a man's soul of faith.
Hi, I'm Britt.
I'm Tiger.
And we're here for One Shot Presents, and what we do on this webisode is review comics and action figures.
Now, what we're not going to do is tell you what the hottest things are, what the current trends are. We're going to talk about what we read and what we think is cool.
And so we have, for our first segment, we have the comic of the week. And this week is Jonathan Hickman's Pax Romana.
Now, Pax Romana was recommended to me by one of the local comic book people here. It is a pretty intimidating book. It's pretty wordy. So it took me a while to actually crack it open, but once I did, I fell in love with it.
Well, based on his recommendation, I went ahead and picked it up, and I didn't like it so much. I do think it's too wordy. I think that the art's really hard to follow, and so it's a really complicated read. I do think that the premise is great. It's about some soldiers going back into time during Constantinian's time and trying to change history for the Catholic Church. However, it's one of those type of comics that you're going to sit down and fall asleep. So for my rating, I give it a 3.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4. I would agree with Brick on some of his points. It is long, it is intimidating, it's not your standard comic book format. But those are some of the things that I found enjoyable about it. It changed it up. It's more of an investment, you have to really dive into it. And again, yeah, it is a great premise. But if you like more of the standard superhero fare, you should probably stand clear. It is a limited series, there's only 4 issues, 2 of them are out now. It's available at your local comic book shop. For this week's grab bag section, we recently had the opportunity to meet Bill Morrison, and he took us through a guided tour of some of his artwork, which was on display in our local library.
Check it out.
Here are a couple of the covers that are represented on the original comic book covers here, the original paintings for these 2 issues of Treehouse of Horror. This one was a really fun issue to work on because I got to work with one of my favorite rock stars of all time, Alice Cooper. And Alice is an amazing guy. He's really nice. And he actually called me at home one night, and we talked on the phone for about 20 minutes just about, you know, growing up in Detroit, where we're both from, and things like that. It was really cool. I actually got to meet him in his trailer after one of his shows, and I instantly turned into a 14-year-old kid. It was amazing. I was suddenly 14 again, and I couldn't say 2 words. It was just like Wayne's World. You know, it was just, I'm not worthy and all that.
Thank you, Bill. All right, for this week's action figure review, I've chosen Graffiti Designs' 2001 Millennium Series Hellboy figure. With the new movie coming out this summer, I've been kind of getting into the comic book, and I wanted to get a figure that reflected that. So there's plenty of Hellboy figures out there. You can get ones that look like they came from the movie or came from the animated show. I wanted to get one that looked like the comic. This one was sculpted to look like Mike Mignola's artwork, and so that's why I went with this one. Pretty standard points of articulation as far as an action figure goes. He does have a little bit of a problem standing up on his own, so you need to brace him against a wall or another action figure. But he comes with his gun and a sword. I've lost the sword already, so some of the smaller parts are kind of an inconvenience, I guess. But as far as bang for your buck, I think it's pretty hard to beat. It's a pretty big figure. It looks just like Mike Mignola's artwork, like I said, and it's available at graffitidesigns.com. Now for a layman's review, we switch to our correspondent, Tuff Christofferson.
With the doll?
Thank you, Tuff. We'll now go to Brick with his graphic novel review.
Today's graphic novel review is Daredevil, written by Kevin Smith. It's part of the Visionary line. It's actually an 8-part series that he wrote that's called Guardian Devil, and they wrapped it up in a trade paperback. It was written by Kevin Smith, which everybody knows was the writer and director of Clerks, Mallrats, Dogma, etc. And this is his first attempt at writing a superhero story. And he chose the Daredevil, which I think was actually pretty cool that he chose somebody that, it's not Spider-Man or Captain America, it's one of the lesser known superheroes. It has all the, if you know anything about Daredevil, it has all the characters in there like the Kingpin, Black Widow, Bullseye, etc. But he did twist it. There is something really cool about it. The antagonist will surprise you at the end. It's not the greatest read. It's not like The Watchmen, but it's something enjoyable, something to kill time. It was recommended to me by Tiger, and you know, sat on my queue for 4 months, didn't care about it, but I went on a trip, and it was an excellent read. It was a fun read. So you can pick it up at your local bookstore, like Barnes & Noble, Borders, etc. Also, of course, your comic book store. Daredevil isn't bad. I'd give it a 3.5. You know, it's an enjoyable read. Check it out.
Well, thanks for tuning into our premiere episode. Tune in next week.
Hold on. I got something to say. Okay, this is directed to people, you know who you are, that goes and buys all these action figures, puts them in the Tupperware, in the closet, in the basement, and all this other stuff. Look, I used to be like you. But then my friend here, Tiger, changed my religion. Open them. Have fun with them. They're more enjoyable when you play with them than when they're collecting dust. Look, I collected all these Star Wars figures. I sold Jar Jar Binks for 50 cents. Is that really worth it? I should have just like blown them up or something. Anyway, have fun with your toys.
Thank you. That was great. Next week we'll be reviewing Logan by Brian K. Vaughan, so it should be a great show. Thanks for watching.